All right, we're coming up on a year since I made the last video. I said I'd do an update and I hadn't done one, so I figure it's about time to do one. So I'm going to show you guys what the trailer looks like. We just got through, this is Sunday. We worked, Lord, I don't know, we worked till 9 o'clock Friday night, and then we got up and worked about 10 hours yesterday to hang a house. And this is what it looks like afterwards. So I did open it this morning, plug it up, so the lights would be on for this video, but otherwise it's just the way I found it. So I'm going to show you guys what it looks like after a year of using it and after a pretty hard week of using it. This is what it looks like. So there you go. This piece of plywood I use right here for when I'm like ripping boards and stuff, and I've got this piece of drywall left over from a patch job or something. I don't usually carry this stuff on here, but it's been on here for like 3 weeks and I just hadn't taken it off. As you can see, my handle has fallen. Somehow, this is really odd, but this is the way I found it. The plywood landed on the handle, so they all fell at the same time, which is just kind of amazing. So I don't have my helper here to make this video. We'll see how this turns out. All right, so I'm just going to talk about a few things here. Some of the things that have changed, some of the things I would like to update, some issues I've seen, and maybe some future projects. Already talked about this handle. This handle falls. I don't know why. This area right here, when I made the last video, I didn't have this shelf here. I've moved all my glue into here. I'm using this glue exclusively now. Anyway, but I've got tape up here. I wanted to be able to fit a whole case of tape in these, but I just don't have the room for that. So I pack about 6 rolls in there, and then I usually have to put a few more over here where I've got, these are just the old knives we use we may scrape floors with them or just whatever. It's stuff that I never really use, but I don't want to throw away. So yeah, anyway, I've added this. I've got blades here, which, by the way, if you do drywall, these blades suck. I have to change these blades constantly. Next time I'll buy the ones made for drywall. But now I've got all these blades. They were cheap, but I can't bring myself to throw them away because I'm cheap. So anyway, so let's see. Let's just take a look down the trailer. So you can see the floor is kind of a mess. In the last video I talked about, I put the floor down because I was hoping it would make me want to keep the trailer cleaner. And I do want to keep it cleaner. I do keep it cleaner than I did my box truck. Man, but I don't have time during the week to stop and clean this trailer. This year has been insane. I've been covered up. It's just been crazy, and I do not have time to keep it clean. So you can see this is what the floor looks like. It is scratched pretty bad. Now it will mop up and look pretty good. But right now it's just pretty dirty. But this is the way it looks. Just discussing real quick some issues I've seen with this trailer. Sometimes this handle falls. Sometimes this handle will bring other handles down with it, or maybe they bring this handle down. I'm not sure which it is, but sometimes these handles fall out of this. I don't know if I could space these clamps out a little bit more, or I'm not sure. But sometimes these handles fall. It's not a big deal. You know, they haven't damaged anything. They haven't been damaged. It's not a big deal. You just pop them back up in there. For the most part, they stay, but they will fall sometimes. Again, I mentioned this in the other video, but the trailer's too small. The next trailer I get will be at least 7 foot on the inside, 7 foot height. Even though I'm 5'7", I don't have no problem bumping my heads, but I didn't have room to build it the way I wanted to. The next one will be 7 foot and will be 8 foot wide. Another issue I have, as you can see, the nose stays messy. It just does. And I don't know what to do with it. I have arranged the nose a little bit. The DeWalt vac was a little bit taller than the one I originally had planned to buy, and so I had to raise that shelf up where my paint sprayer's at. And then I added this paint tray we use for the 18-inch rollers. Was just always in the way, always in the way. So I added this. I just cut some rabbets out on a 2x3 and up there, and it just slides in there. It didn't come out. I added this hook here for my bucket locks, and I've got the hose for my paint sprayer there. We've done a lot of painting recently, so I've still got some primer sitting here. So one other issue, and this is not a, I don't know. One other issue is this. You can see that is far messier than it was in the last video. If you watched the last video, or if you remembered, or what, you can go back and watch it. It's far messier. I'm not happy with this, but all this stuff I'm not happy with, I could fix, but I've just been too busy to even do anything with it. But the stilts don't ride in there. They're constantly getting tangled on the cords. It's just, it hadn't worked out as good as I'd like. I still love the idea of hanging my cords like that, but I think I could do better with this space. In the next trailer I will, if I don't get around to fix it in this one. All right, one other issue I've seen is right here, and I'm having to film this myself on a GoPro that does not have a screen, so I'm hoping this is good, but let me get down lower. So right there, you can see where the orange bucket's at. The cabinets are sagging right there. I should have supported those right there. They all still open and close fine, but there is a bit of a sag right there. I could have put just a piece of 3/4 underneath it like I have. On both ends and in the middle, there's a piece of 3/4 holding them up, but they are sagging just a little bit. Not a major deal, but one other thing, let me move this again. I had that door here that slid up, and I had the little plastic window locks on it to keep it in place, to kind of keep my drop cloths from falling out, and to kind of keep the dust contained in there, but that door didn't work out. The plastic locks just wouldn't hold up. I meant to see if they ever had metal locks or something to be a little stronger, but I just don't have time. That's why when I bought the trailer, I had the trailer parked in the yard, and I did not use it for, you know, a month or two or however long. I don't even remember now how long it took me to build all this, because I knew I knew once I started using it, I wouldn't do anything to it. In the first video, I showed the charger station. I had like 3 Ryobi chargers. I've only got the 2 now, and it's probably about to be down to 1. I'm switching everything over to Milwaukee. The Ryobi 2s work good at first. The screw guns, the drywall screw guns, they worked good at first, but they just didn't hold up. They didn't. There's a reason why they are a cheaper tool. And so I've bought the Milwaukee screw guns, and we love them. Sometimes they aren't as consistent at setting the screw as I'd like to see them, but they work great. The Ryobis had gotten to where they wouldn't drive a screw all the way in. I don't know, the motors were weak or what, but yeah, they didn't work. So I'm in the process now of switching everything over to Milwaukee, and I may go through the tools here in a minute, and I've got a lot more Milwaukee tools now. Not as many as I'm going to have. So that's about all as far as, you know, issues I've seen with the trailer, I've had with the trailer or whatever. So I'll talk about a few things that have changed. I've got the 3 Milwaukee chargers. I've got 1 more, and I'll probably take this green Ryobi charger out because it sucks. Half the time it tells you the batteries are bad, but if you put them on that little black charger, they'll charge just fine. So that one is probably going to go away, and I'm going to add that other Milwaukee charger there. So most of the drawers are still the same. Unfortunately, I never got around to buying the Kaizen foam and doing all that. So I just dig through there to find what I need, but whatever. I don't need that drawer a whole lot. Sanding drawer's just got more stuff in it. This drawer was not this full last time, but anyway. Yeah, most of the drawers, all these are pretty much the same. I've just got a lot more bits and blades now. Keep a spare 10-inch blade from a miter saw in here. I've got a bunch of all kinds of blades for skill saw, hole saws, whatever. So yeah, this little device here I made, this is really cool. I've been teaching myself how to weld, but this little device right here I came up with. If you've ever run a bazooka, very handy. When you get done taping, if your bazooka's still half full of mud, you'd have to just sit there by hand and turn this little wheel and get all the mud out. It takes forever. Your freaking hand will cramp up. So I came up with that. I welded that up, stick it in the drill, couple seconds, all your mud's out of your bazooka. Paint drawer, yeah, still very full. Very disorganized. It kind of sucks, but I just don't know how in the world else I would even organize all this. Still the same. Rags, gloves. My fastener drawer. This one I have done something with. Much nicer. These little bins are awesome. You may be wondering why a drywall guy has so many air gun nails and brads and finish nailers. Well, I've been doing a lot more stuff like that. We did a whole house remodel this year where we framed it. I mean, we did pretty much everything but refinished the hardwood floors and laid the tile, which he should have let me do the tile too because the tile got screwed in. But anyway, we did everything. We trimmed it out, hung all the doors, painted. We did everything. So that's why I keep all that. I do a lot of stuff like that from time to time. Well, I don't do a lot, but I did a lot more of it this year. I hope to do a lot more. The drawer I used to have for glue is now a second fastener drawer. I did buy a better laser. I mentioned in the last video that I had a cheap skill laser that I hardly ever used them well. The big remodel I said we did, we had all the ceilings were sloped. He didn't want them sloped anymore, so I went and bought a better laser. And this one works pretty good. I've got right now, that's all that's in there is the cheap laser, the good laser, and some spare bends, and this piece of random crown that I guess it was a template, but I've actually kind of figured out how to do crown now, so I don't need the templates. This drawer still doesn't have a lot in it, just the routers. Oh yeah, I keep nail guards in here. That way if we're on a job and the electrician and the plumber were too lazy to put nail guards in, the last thing I want is for somebody's house to catch on fire because we put a screw through a wire, or them have a leak or something like that because we put a screw through a pipe. So it's much cheaper to just go buy a box of nail guards. I keep a few in my pouch, pop them on, done. So yeah, all the drawers are still the same. We'll go through, I'm not going to go through and look at all this, but I'm up to 3 Milwaukee screw guns. I do still use these routers, and I'll tell you why. It's because the first 2 that I bought, I got the extended warranty on them, so I haven't paid for a router in like 2 years. And somehow I still have 2 years left on the warranty. I don't know. I just checked it. I just had to bring one back the other day. So somehow I've still got 2 years of warranty on what they told me. I don't even know how that works, but I hadn't paid for a router in 2 years, so I'm still using those. They work fine. They just don't have a big enough fan on them, and they wind up going through the bearings up here. But as long as they keep giving them to me free, I'm going to keep using those. When I can't get any more free, I'll buy the Milwaukee. Still got the corded router. That thing has not been used in I don't know when. So Milwaukee drill now. I'm going to be getting a Milwaukee impact soon. Still got the cobalt blower, staple gun, all this stuff is basically not changed. I've got 9-inch roller handles here because they don't fit in the big drawer. Let's see, still got the same place for my oscillating saws and knives. I've got this palm router now. I wanted the Milwaukee cordless, but they didn't have one when I needed it. So the big remodel we did the countertops. He did butcher block countertops, so we had to sand those down and all that. And so I bought the palm sander there to do that. My wipe down knife's still the same. little 4-way that I made. I do have this Ryobi biscuit joiner. The countertops that we did, I actually had to make one wider. So the biscuit joiner was the best way I knew how to do that. This is just kind of I don't even know what all's in there. There's a coping saw that I don't know how to use. And a flush cut saw, and then a propane torch. Batteries. This drawer, or this thing, just rarely ever gets used. It's a good idea to have a place so that when multiple people are using your tools and there's a dead battery and not a charger available, it's good to know that you got that there. But it's like there's hardly ever a battery in it because I've usually got batteries on the charger, so anytime the trailer's plugged up, the batteries are charging, and there's no issue with having a dead battery really. But anyway, this is kind of wasted space. Up here I've got this other Milwaukee charger. I think I've got another Ryobi charger back there. There's a cord. I cut off my sander to put a better cord on it. I wound up just throwing instruction manuals up here. Whoever reads instruction manuals, right? But I don't know, one day I may need it, so I just throw it up there. Clamps, paint shields up here. This is not really changed. Still got my sander and my bazooka up here. Apparently this T-square fell. This is the first time it's ever fallen. I don't know. I didn't put it up yesterday, so I'm thinking that whoever put it in here just didn't wedge it back in here good enough, because it's never fallen before. So one other thing I said in the last video was I was going to have a little hook shelf thing built for my ladders. As you can see, I hadn't done that either. Just hadn't had time. I added these. I've got these clamps on here now. I use these to do those countertops when I had to widen the countertop. Somebody didn't put this back on here right either. So this area here is all still basically the same. I added a few more of these little PVC holders for my glue guns, and I need to put a few more on here honestly, so that, because right now if you want a caulk gun out, I've got to pull this out to get the caulk gun out, so I need to do that. It's just one of those things. Hadn't had time. In here with my miter saw, I've got a spare hose for my shop vac, for my sander shop vac. All this is still basically the same. I've still got this saw on here. I haven't had just a dire need to put something else here, so it's still here. I don't remember the last time we used it. Still, this is still for lights. Which these are probably going to go away because I'm thinking about switching to the cordless Milwaukee light. Not sure yet. Still screws and stuff up here. I've got a couple of clean drop cloths here in case I've got a floor that I don't want to put some of these dusty drop cloths on. These are nice and clean, no problem to put them out. And yeah, all that's still the same. Okay, as far as future projects go, there are some things I'm definitely going to do. I'm just going to make time to do them because they need to be done. So the first thing is going to be solar. I'm going to add 1, maybe 2 solar panels. And sorry, I got to put my shoe back on. So I have a habit of stepping on my shoes. Anyway, I'm going to add 1, maybe 2 solar panels and a charger and at least 1 battery. There are times when I would like to have the lights on and batteries charging, but I don't necessarily want to pull the cord out and everything. So I will be adding a solar system with 1 or 2 panels, charge controller, of course the batteries, and a power inverter so that the lights can run off the power inverter. Oh, one thing I forgot on things I would do different is an electric trailer jack. There's times, man, when I pull up, like maybe we're going to 2 or 3 different jobs that day, and I pull up in the morning and, you know, I got to run to Lowe's or whatever, and I got to unhook the trailer, or go to lunch and unhook the trailer, and then I got to hook it back up, and it's a pain. It would be much better if I had an electric trailer jack. That's a luxury, I know, but it's going to happen. And I got an idea of how I can make it happen without buying an electric trailer jack. But anyway, thinking of maybe putting a backup camera on the back of the trailer. It's not super important, but there's a lot of times, especially if I'm by myself for whatever reason, and nobody can get out and watch the back, and like I'm having to back up between cars, and I'm on my blind side. I actually wound up creasing the side of my trailer with a tree limb one day that I probably could have seen that limb there if I had had somebody with me, or had the backup camera. So anyway, that's something I may do, and also some exterior lights, maybe a couple back here and one over the door. Guys, that's about it. That's my update video. I'm thinking about doing some videos when I add the solar and maybe the lights and the backup camera and stuff like that. I'm also thinking of, since this channel is named Ricky's Drywall, I'm thinking of actually having some drywall videos on it. But that's all I got, guys. Appreciate you watching. Look for them videos. I think I'm gonna maybe mount the GoPro to my head and let you watch me tape and mud a house maybe. That's all I got for you guys. Appreciate you watching.